Hello, yes, thank you.
We're back.
Thank you for being here.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
To clarify, that wasn't even special sound editing. It was just my stupid remote. I love this thing.
Remote.
Look, I took a stand-up comedy class in college because I was a theater major. To be clear, it was performed comedy as social commentary. Okay. But our major projects were all writing and performing stand-up sets that included social commentary. And I love prop comedy, which means I made like giant Venn diagram signs and stupid pictures that I could move things around, etc. And one of my things was I found this stupid remote that has like, and so I would like I would do bits with it, and I compared it to a vibrator. It's like the vibrator of stand-up comedy because you just do it yourself. I'm sure it was more fleshed out when I wrote this bit several years ago, but all right, maybe relax.
Oh my god, I added
It's called the instant audience remote, by the way.
To get your audience going. I added in the badumch to one of our episodes when one of my jokes fell, or maybe it wasn't. You roasted me to filth in something, and I had to add that in because it was hilarious.
I do love that.
I think it was like our Halloween episode or something. I don't know, but it was too funny.
Probably that one was really unhinged.
So now we have an actual one that's not just relying on me finding royalty free.
Yeah, it's gonna be like really bad sound quality. That's how you'll know that it's not editing. It's just me.
My favorite still is the nice cock. From the Wii.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
That like I mean we grew up on, or at least I grew up on iCarly, so like the random dancing, like I too love random sound effects. And in college there was that pew 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 or like the air horn thing, like that was a huge thing in the college days. So this is just bringing me back. So I for one love it.
I used to like have it queued up so I could do it. There was also the that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I used to always have ready to go just in case I needed them. Hold on.
It's like we're in a Scooby-Doo episode.
You never know when you're gonna need the Kill Bill sirens.
My favorite, my dad told me about this when I was younger, the Wilhelm scream. I don't know if you know what that is, but I will find it's like added into a lot of like action movies. Like it's like a random So like if you like there's like in like Indiana Jones or like in like a like maybe Star Wars,
you'll
like
hear it.
Yeah. So like if a character like maybe Star Trek, like if a character gets like pushed off something or like dies a dramatic death, you'll hear like ah! And it's like the Wilhelm scream, like it has like a name. Oh my god, there's also it's in Toy Story. When Buzz is pushed out the window, he makes it. There's like a whole I'll link the YouTube video, which is top 10 Wilhelm screams. There was a part where I wanted to add it in
of the SpongeBob my leg
chocolate. God, I love SpongeBob.
On that note,
Indiana Jones was in there. Look at me go. Yeah.
Welcome to Romance Your TBR. Thank you so much for being here. This remote gives me too much power.
Gotta embrace.
Now I'm like kind of bummed that we don't have a live studio audience,
right?
It's so quiet without their responses.
One episode we should just add in the laugh track.
The laugh track,
the worst moments.
Because as it is, this is what it feels like.
So sad, but so relatable.
All right, I need to stop with this remote. Anyway, welcome to Romance Your TBI.
We have introduced ourselves within the first 5 minutes. We deserve applause.
We have not introduced our.
We introduced the title of our podcast, but I'm Hannah. What's your name?
Hannah. I'm Caroline.
Boom! Within the first 5 minutes, we did it.
All right. It was like 4:59.
It was
when we said that.
It was.
So we're clear.
And that's a great achievement.
Good for us. We did it.
Yeah. We really
Mission
did.
accomplished. End of podcast.
Yeah, I think you've heard all you need to know about us today.
But you know what they haven't heard about?
What is it, Caroline?
Get thee off my lawn.
Get out, Miss
A
Swamp!
Regency rom-com with a Swan problem. My first read of 2023, and God, was it a solid 5 stars.
As soon as I saw the cover, and as soon as I read the blurb, I immediately tagged you, and I was like, "Hey,
Yeah,
this is us. This is real. This is me."
yeah. I'd like to be clear. It is like a little bit unhinged, but it's not like bonkers. It's good.
It worked so much better than I thought, and it like actually was a lot less unhinged, like you said. Like,
no, it's not like actually.
No.
The premise is very silly,
mm-hmm.
but the execution is well done.
It just I really didn't know what to expect.
I didn't either.
It's like 100 or so pages. Or it's like 140 maybe. It was like,
yeah, I think it's
pretty,
like 14 chapters.
Yeah, like you said. In our TBR Tuesday that we just recorded, but you probably haven't listened to right before this. It was just so fun.
It was fun. There was also like a surprising amount of like emotional depth.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like where I was like I like teared up a couple of times. There
was like a charming like secondary romance that like takes wings in the epilogue. Like it was just, I didn't expect that much to happen.
No.
And I didn't expect to love it because like there's the whole I don't know if it's really a spoiler. I guess it is, but if you're listening to this,
we'll be talking about spoilers.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, we're just gonna talk about the book. So read it and then weep and then join us.
It won't take you very long, and it's on Kindle Unlimited.
It is. When I was reading this, my mom kept trying to talk to me about all these random things. I'm like, Mom, she's getting a very intimate bath right now. I need you to stop talking.
What a scene! What an incredible! I was sweating.
Like, Jesus, I've seen what you've done for others. Why do I not have a hot, sexy neighbor who wants to bathe me very thoroughly? Like, there's like that meme where it's like, it was like, I've seen what you've done for others and I want it for myself.
Where is my hot neighbor?
And like, I just, that'd be such an easy romance to have if you have a neighbor and he shows up and he's hot. But
well, to be fair, you first have to chase a swan onto his
That is very true.
lawn.
So you have to acquire a swan.
And then the swan has to go hang out in his pond.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's notably, she doesn't know that she has a hot neighbor because she only knows his father.
Yeah, and there's a swan manse. So like the swans get it on. Like get it on Swan Edition. Like there's just so many different things happening. There's like a kind of like witchy sister in the sense of just very annoying, like Lydia Bennett, but this one seems to be a little bit older and know what she's doing a little bit more.
She's closer to like if you combined Lydia and Mary.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you're right.
She's kind of nasty and like obsessed with propriety, but she also like wants to get married and is a little.
She was an odd duck or an odd swan.
Yeah. I saw my friend Ellie, who's what is her I think it's like the classics are boring. Yes, the classics are boring is her username. But she had posted that she read this book, she put it on her reading tracker, and I commented and was like, oh, like you love to see it. And she said, and I quote, let me find it. Oh, you absolutely inspired me to read it. Agatha was a cunt, but loved the swans.
And that was so true. It was so true.
I was like, you're not wrong. Like, correct. She is. I mean, I knew what was going to happen with Agatha as soon as he saw her.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, perfect. Deus Ex Machina, we're solving the problem. I did not expect how it would come about, though.
Yeah, I was, the only part where I was a little bit annoyed was just like, why are they still trying to push April on this man? Like, clearly it's like she wants it. Like, I don't quite get.
Well, I think because at that point, like it had been announced they were getting married. Like,
but I also
that's not you're like, oh, let's reshuffle really quickly.
It was, what did I just read another one. Oh, this is gonna annoy me. I just read another one where um they announced that someone was betrothed, but it was only the like Miss Nightingale. So like in the band or like in whatever was announced, it was like
I thought that was
Mr.
this one.
It is, but there's another one that I read. It was like Mr. Gramble is engaged to Miss Nightingale, and then they were like, you didn't say her name, so it could be any Miss Nightingale. What I think it was it a Lorraine Heath like novella? It was, or like a Valerie Bowman one. I don't know. It was something that I read recently where the same trick was pulled. Where
I feel like that seems like a thing that shouldn't be possible. Like the bands should include first and last
first names, I
names.
know. And
Maybe
well,
they
there was
do,
a
and this is just like authors
because this is
just
true.
deciding they don't.
Which one was it?
I have
It
no
must
idea.
it must have maybe been a Valerie Bowman one. But the same thing. I was like, oh, because then they had to like pretend then to be engaged, and so I liked how it played out, but I was just a smidge like, why is Agatha not just being like, I want to marry him? But I
I
got
don't
over
think
it.
she could, and also probably, I mean, they're trying to marry April off so that Agatha
Well, that's
can get married.
that
So
that
it's
w- that was because like the confusing thing was I was like, oh, so she wants April to get married so she can have her time in the sun. But then also if she's like attracted to this guy, I'm like, because I had the distinct vibe like if he had married April, he would have like been stooping her sister on the
yeah,
side.
for sure. I
Yeah.
think Agatha's just a bitch.
Yes.
I don't.
There's
I
not
don't think
much.
there was anything more. And also, they only met earlier that day,
Yeah.
so it's not like they had been
No.
carrying this on for weeks and then were like, "Oh, why did you wait so
Well,
long?" It
and
was very
then
much like they're feeling it out.
there was a moment that I liked from April where she was like, I just never believed that like her hero would actually want to marry her because she was like
Right.
still like feeling like she had to marry this guy. And she was like, wait, I just didn't think that like I didn't let myself believe that you would
Right. Well, she'd also
marry me.
been like traumatized by the
Yep.
whole like everyone besmirching her reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
she doesn't see herself as a desirable
Mm-hmm.
for
And
marriage
yep. And
person.
it's like a situation where she has to like save her family.
Right.
Like they
So
have
there's a
money,
lot going on.
but they don't have like as enough money that for like for all their seasons and stuff.
Right.
So like they want her to marry rich. But then like the hero he was away. It was like making maps.
Yeah.
He was like
He was a cartographer
yeah, which was real hot. He had a great line about how he would never make maps for her to leave, but he'd always make maps for her to
to
come
bring
back
her
to him.
back. Yeah,
And
get
I
out of
was
my
like,
face.
shit. There were some lovely lines
There were
in
some
this book.
random gorgeous lines that I
J-
was like, "Oh, that's
same
emotionally devastating." And also
same
some funny ones.
Yeah, same thing in the face sitting one that I talked about in TBR Tuesday. The one I have on Kindle, which is A Day Until Forever. There was a lovely line right inside the face sitting scene that someone had shared on Twitter, and I was like, "That's like one of the most beautiful things I've ever read." And she's currently sitting on his face, so I love that.
Um, yeah, the maps line took me out.
I was so
Of course,
lovely.
also in those various scenes, you get like I made a note of him calling her a fetching filter of foul. There are so many avian
Mm-hmm.
puns and wordplay, and they're
As there
bad, but
should
they're
be.
so good. There's a Lita joke, and I was like,
Yes. Yep.
thank God, because the whole time I was like, surely they can't like you can't write a book where swans are this involved, and specifically like swans that you're trying to get to mate.
Yep.
You can't write this without. And then there was a Lita joke, and I was like, check
Like
that
Zeus.
box. Thank God. I was so worried we weren't gonna get it. What were
I
the other? I like
also
highlighted random things.
I also didn't realize like the mating rituals of swans. Like I didn't realize like it was
Oh
so like
yeah.
they like tangle their necks and like all that, and then the parallels between them and then like whatever like the humans did. I was like, oh, it was
Yeah,
just
it
so well
was
written.
yeah, I mean, it was a little like on the nose.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. But just him really pulling up and being like, "You're mad at him for falling in love with the swan for the wrong pond." And I was like dying. I was trying to find well, I shall only draw maps to bring you back was the one thing I highlighted. The first thing I highlighted, this actually did take me out because this was the thing that I was like, oh, this is the kind of book that I'm reading. Incredible. Was when she's stuck in the pond. Hopefully anybody listening to this already knows the premise of the book because we never explained it. Whatever. She's stuck in the pond and he asks, what is happening here, may I ask? And she shrugs and says, 'tis a lark. And he corrects, no, 'tis a swan.
'Tis a swan. Yes.
I lost my mind. I was like,
Yes.
why is that? For some reason, that was like the funniest thing I had ever read in that moment. I think because it's so obvious.
Yes.
But
And
like
just
unexpected.
and like, yes, I understand that my bar is very low, but like a man who can like assess his surroundings and make like jokes and puns that are funny and witty is just like so attractive.
That's true. They
Or like
had
any character who can do
really
that.
good banter.
Yes.
That was probably the highlight of the book for me.
The first thing that I highlighted was the term ardent organ. So that shows where I'm at mentally. And emotionally, I guess.
Oh, not ardent organ.
Ardent organ.
I had some other like little linguistic things. I find Daria Vernon's style so like unique and kind of like it kind of reminded me, it's not on the same level at all, but like it reminded me of India Holton in that it had that like kind of charming, funny narrative voice where like there were jokes in the narration, not just from the characters.
It's the way I wish I could write. That just sounds so effortless, but like you said, like charming and
right, like it's very funny.
Just and I just love the parallel of like them getting it on in the water in the bath. Like swans. And like she like dunks her head in the back and then you see like the swans getting it on and like he like the guy dunks her head and or like the swan dunks the female swan Gerald dunks the female swan's head under the water and it was the whole thing.
It's just really violent. I also wanted to note my other highlight was just like random writing style things where I was like, I just love the way that you write books. Was she asks how do you see your lovers? And it says Leo found no impudence in the question because he did not choose to look for it. And there were like little things, like I loved like that phrasing of like he found no impudence because he didn't choose to look for it. Like it just made me chuckle, and I was like, this is such a fun like. There's also one I didn't highlight it, but she says something about like the house. And it's like non-judgmental facade, something like that. Because he doesn't want to be judged.
Feels like India Holton.
Yeah, like it's that kind of like a lot of personification, that kind of thing. But then also it was just so cute. I loved the swans. I loved the whole idea of like it is it's insta lust, and then it kind of turns into insta love. But I found it very believable. Because it's based so heavily on like compatibility. Like they had a really fun day, and neither of them has felt like playful and fun in like many years.
And that was so sweet. Like he was just like it was the best day. And I was just
like they just had a good time together, and then we're like, I need to be with you because you are like so charming and fun.
It was just so sweet. I didn't expect it to be like that. Charming.
That was very adorable. Also, Leo, so sweet, so soft. He's like, yeah, I want to be like a scoundrel, but I am not.
Those are my like.
But also, man, that man can dirty talk.
He can. And I must say that whenever there's a scene in a bathtub and they're like splashing water everywhere, I get a little bit nervous just because like I hate having to clean up water. Like if you like drip when you're like in the bath or something, and like I hate that. So especially at this time period when probably max absorbency towels probably thing and like the servants always have to clean it up, I always feel slightly bad, but I'll let them suffer because that bath scene,
it was so good,
and it was so long. It wasn't like rushed. It was given its time to breathe.
There was like a lot of tension build leading up to it, and then that like, man snapped.
And it was the second book in as many days where the characters bathed each other. And Jana Goes Wild, they're in the shower and they're like scrubbing dubbing, and like it happened like I think once in the past, and then it happened in the present, and I was here for it. So good. And so then to have this, I was like, yes.
I don't even like
is
bath scenes. I don't like anything involving water usually.
I
This
don't
one hit though.
I don't mind I don't mind a bath.
I think because I'm always thinking about, like, I don't have a comfortable bath,
The
and I live
logistics,
in
yeah.
2023, so I'm thinking about, like a
How big,
metal
yeah,
tub
copper.
that you're bathing in, like, that just doesn't seem comfortable to, number 1, sit in, number
Yeah.
2, try to,
Wiggle your
like,
way with 2
leg
people.
in, and there's
Yeah.
2 of you. I mean, she did make a point of, like, he gets in still wearing his breeches, and she's like, "That what are you doing?"
That stressed me out. I
It
mean
did, and he was like, "There's no time," and she was like, "LOL, okay." Like,
I mean, my kingdom for a large bath, like, I would love to be rich, have, like, a spacious bath, because then I would, like
mad suspension of disbelief, though, because I've seen, like, Regency era tubs.
yeah.
They're just little metal tubs. That can't be
Well,
fun.
I also didn't know what a hip bath was, until I think it was, like, Lydia Lloyd Romance on Instagram. She had, like, done a post of,
Shout
like
out
yes, amazing
to
account, go
the one,
follow.
the only.
I will link.
She gives
Um
me life.
Um, but I like it was the first picture of a hip bath that I'd ever seen, and I was like, "Oh my god." It's like everything is out and about in that bath, and it's like only your hips, which I guess makes sense because it's a hip bath. Um, so whenever now that I see a bath in historical romance, I'm like, "What kind of bath are you?" Because I'm kind of stressed.
It was a
So
lot,
this
but
bath seemed huge.
we have to assume. They were
I hope.
wrestling. She ended up on top, but then he
Yeah.
boy, did he take control. That man said some things. It's fine. Everything is fine. I was sweating. There's also a second scene that is never, like, it's not completed in the sense that, like, he doesn't come the second
Mhm.
time, but it is hysterical. That scene took me out. Like, she screamed, and then he's like, "Did
He runs away.
did she just scream?" And then
So
shoves her up the stairs.
So I have a question about that. Was it okay, so they were on the stairs,
Mhm.
and I didn't know where they were before that, so, like, I didn't know if they were, like, standing up or what was happening, but it seemed like they were, like, on the steps? Where was that how you read
Yeah.
it? And
I
then, like
also was confused because I thought it was a closet under the stairs the first time I read it, and then I was lost, and I went back and reread. It's a servant stairway,
y okay, yeah.
like a very, like, kinda steep, dark, narrow servant stairway with a door that you open and there's stairs.
So then this is where I wanna, like, get out the Barbie dolls and, like, rearrange some
Mhm,
things because, like so she was, like, climbing like, for part of the scene, she was, like, climbing up the stairs, and she was like, "He's gonna
mhm,
take me from behind." But then he,
mhm.
like does he, like, come up under so he's, like his, like, back's on the stairs. She's, like,
Yes,
still on multiple stairs, and then it's kinda like face sitting.
it is
But
face
she's
sitting.
but so it is. Okay, so I was,
It's
like,
face sitting, but on the
trying
stairs.
I while I was sitting in the kitchen with my mother, I was trying in a as discreet way as possible to be like, "Okay, let's map this out."
Yeah,
So I can add it to my face sitting shelf. That's basically all I needed to confirm, the visual in my
yeah.
mind that can't see things.
My understanding is that it was face sitting
Okay,
on the
that's what I
stairs.
thought too. So cool, fun, mildly
And then
dangerous.
a little bit, but
I'd
whatever.
probably fall.
Probably just uncomfortable.
That too.
It didn't sound great, but she even was like, "I can feel the stairs cutting into my shoulders, and it just doesn't matter." And I was like, "Fair enough."
And so then
And
what
then
Kara
she screamed while they were at her engagement party
to
to
the other
another
guy.
man, and they were sneaking off. And he was like, "I'd marry you." And then she screamed when she came, and
And then
he
he's like
pulled away and thought to himself, "Did she just scream?" And then shoved her up the stairs so they could run away.
and then she's like, "Why did you run?" So she's a little bit here. She's like, "Why did you run?" He's like, "You screamed." And she's like, "But you said you'd marry me. Like, it doesn't matter." And he's like, "But I don't want us to be ass out
He
and
really said,
compromise."
"That is not what I was going for."
He literally made the comment about both their
Did
bare
he did
asses.
say ass out. Oh, that killed me. I remember having to because it ended the chapter with "and then
Yeah.
she screamed," and I had to, like, put the book like, my Kindle down because I was like, "Girl, you were at your engagement party to
And she was
someone else." Like,
and she was really just like, "I thought it was okay to scream. Like, I thought this was the goal."
she's
And
like, "I didn't think you would marry me
so
otherwise,
then
even though
so
you
then
just
they
said."
They go up to the attic and they're smooching, and then they hear
Oh,
people. They
because
hear
then they're
people.
like, well, you know what? We might as
Might
well
as
get
well, because it's
compromised.
gonna happen. Like, there's nowhere for us to go. Like, they're gonna find
Only
us.
for them to not get compromised.
So only for them to hear them call her name, but then it stops, and they're like, let's kiss. Like, let's like get in a compromising position. Let's kiss. Let's just give them, something to talk about. Like, it's gonna happen. So they're kissing, and then like I just picture them just like, mid kiss, just like hearing, because then it was like it's silent, and no one bursted in. They heard no screaming of names, and they were like, "What? Where did everyone go? Like, this is a scene. Like, we've given you like some visuals." And then nothing happens. And
We
so then they're
are the
kind of
show.
they are the show, and then they're kind of like ticked off. They're like, Where did everyone go?" And so then they make their way down the stairs, and then they find where everyone is, and that is a bedroom with Agatha and the Mr. Gramble, who's like 50.
Shout out
And
to Agatha for
it's,
this.
it's
Honestly,
the realist on it, like. And
she
then,
solved so many problems.
I mean, I was petty enough to be like angry that she was able to feel satisfaction, in the sense that she was like happy that she stole this from April, but like whatever. She has to be married to this weird like man who hates the gap in April's teeth, but Leo
Yeah, that
loves
was
it, which
weird.
was adorable. I was like, oh, rude. There's also some like lovely imagery with like her having the gap in her teeth, and then how Leo was just like so into it. And it was like, I've like fallen into this gap, and like I'm in love, and I don't. Ugh. But then so then Agatha gets compromised, and then April can be like, ha ha ha, I wasn't getting compromised. Like, you're the scandalous one now. And then they just got married.
And then
And then
they
the epilogue.
fucked outside while they were also hanging
Yes.
out with their swans, which I
Yes.
thought was a little odd. I wouldn't want to have sex near my pets, but
No.
you know what?
But
Live your life.
we are the bear fucking book. We do love that.
Oh,
So,
you know what? You're so right. I have no leg to stand on.
if we had a nickel for each book that fucked near an animal, we'd have 2 nickels. Well, it's not a lot.
It isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. I feel like there's gotta be more.
I hope there are.
Oh, isn't there, there's that Tessa Dare where they're having sex and the cat, like, launches at the guy.
Yes. So there's that. And then technically in the other Tessa Dare that I talked about on TBR Tuesday, a wallflower wager, they go pretty heavy beside like a pond or whatever, where they're trying to offload this otter. So I
Sure.
believe the otter gets a little bit of an eyeful.
Fascinating.
I think it's
There's
an otter.
also, Lillian and Marcus fucking the stable by the horses in Wallflower Christmas, and she makes a point about there are some things that shouldn't be done in front of children or horses, and he says there's no horses here and there's no children here and my horses don't gossip.
Okay, so we have more than a few nickels.
We have a few nickels. We have several. Which I think I'm absolutely one of those people who would like, I don't have indoor pets, but if I did, I would lock them out of the room.
Yes.
I would feel a little weird about that. But you know what?
Yeah.
Those swans, I mean, Leo had seen them go at it.
Yeah. Have you seen Schitt's Creek?
No, I mean I've seen like the first episode, but
so there's one of the love interests for the daughter, Ted. I love him. He's a vet, and he's got a lot of animals, and then she goes over to his apartment, and the dogs like in every scene are just like watching them, and she's like, can you tell him to go? And he's like, oh, they're this is natural. And she's like, no, can you like tell him to move? And then it's a whole thing. But I would give my soul for Ted. He's just so sweet. But he didn't quite comprehend that she didn't want the dogs to be privy to everything.
That's how I imagine when we eventually will get Jacob Winchester's book from the Eric Ridley Wild Winchester series, and he's got all the animals. Number one,
does he have a hedgehog?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's the hedgehog book maybe that I was thinking about was that one.
Well,
not
he
that
doesn't
book.
have a book.
No, but like in the book.
Yes. But that's like how I imagine he would be. Like there's just animals everywhere, and whoever his love interest is gonna be like Jacob.
Well, I hope the love interest hates animals, because that would be so fun.
No.
Because then she has to, like, learn to love them. That, to me, sounds
Oh,
very fun.
that's fair.
I mean, not, like, hate, but, like, maybe never had, like, an animal or never was given, like, a pet, so
That's
then, like,
fair.
she's got, or, like, that's another thing where she, like, always
You
wanted one but never
mean
had one, so then it's, like, a
Great
dream
Cliff
come
with
true.
the Hedgehog 2.0,
Yes.
but over the course of an entire book.
Yes. God,
This
Great
is
Cliff
fair.
never eats sweets and then smells cake everywhere because she smells like cake.
Okay, he
God.
doesn't smell cake everywhere. You
He
went really
smells
hard with
vanilla,
that,
and
and then I read the book, and he it happens a couple of
it happens
times.
enough times. More nickels. Like, I mean, this
Like,
man,
one time he asks for cake.
because he's been on a severe, like, bland diet because he thinks his heart's gonna, he
Yeah,
thinks
and
he's gonna
once he's like,
die,
"Shall I call for cake?" And the other
and
guy
it
is
was
like,
lovely.
"Huh?"
It was, like, a random moment, and then because she always smells like vanilla, whatever. It imprinted on
I'm
me.
just saying. And I love that for you.
I do too.
The
Um,
hedgehog is what imprinted on me.
uh,
The him going, "It's a heart, its nose is shaped like a heart." I was like, "Get out. This isn't relevant to Get Thee Off My Lawn. We're gonna talk
no.
about these books later." Get Thee Off My Lawn, Leo imprinted me with all of his stupid banter. He's bantering with her while she's, like, stuck in a pond. Like, in a gross pond, and she's checking out the crotch of his breeches, and he just continues to banter.
I just
And then
I
sneaks her into the house.
I feel like I'm in my novella era because, like, they get it on so fast,
They
and
do.
there's minimal things happening elsewhere, and that's honestly what I need. Like, I've read some, novellas in, like, other series too that I love because it's just like they get to the banging very, very early on.
Well, and it's a, like, hookup that turns into
Yes. Yeah,
feelings,
one
so
night
you
or
you
one
get it
day stand.
immediately. Yeah, I guess.
Um,
Uh,
and I
and
just thought
then
it was so dramatic when he, like, found out that she was engaged, and he
oh my
was
god,
just
the
like, "Oh."
drama. The drama when we found out she was
Yes!
engaged.
Well,
I was like, "Oh!"
so she had made a comment,
Yeah,
um,
about not
about
being
ho
entirely honest.
honest, and I highlighted it, and I was like, "So she's a virgin?" But I was like, that
I
didn't
thought that
really,
too.
because I was like, "So, okay, so she's, like, lying about, like, actually, like, having, like, a full lover, like, maybe she's, like,
Mhm.
gone, like, to third base, but not all the way." But then I was
That's
like,
what
"Wait,
I
that."
was thinking.
Yeah, so then
And then it didn't.
it didn't seem like that, and then I was like, "What's happening?" I was like, "Oh, so she's engaged, and this is her swan song." Is, fucking this handsome neighbor in a bath,
Good for her.
um, as her one last act of rebellion, which
Mm.
yeah, good for her, and I liked how he was, like, annoyed, but he, like, understood, but he was still just, like, devastated.
Ugh. And the way that man was obsessed with her immediately.
Mhm, and the gap, like I said, like, the gap between her teeth, I kept thinking about, "Ours" by Taylor Swift. That line. That line of that song imprinted on me. I love the gap between your teeth and the riddles that you speak.
Okay.
But here it would be the puns about swans that you speak.
Then there are many.
And the cover, I wanna take a minute to appreciate the cover.
Yes. Absolutely.
Lovely.
I did buy a physical copy of the
Mhm.
book because I wanted the cover so badly. Um,
I I love the contrast of the colors and the font and the fact that she does have a gap animal, that is in the book.
yes.
It works so well.
It is so good. I have a query.
Ooh.
Why so what killed me was we have the nightingales. I mean, killed me. I'm more just it, like, occurred to me and then I couldn't stop
Mhm.
thinking about it. The nightingales. Um, and then the butler he's never on page, but the father's butler that he keeps thinking that Leo is the
Yeah.
butler is
Part
named Partridge.
partridge.
And so I was like, why doesn't he have a bird name? And I was like,
Name.
is Daring a bird? But it's not. I tried, like, looking up his name to see if maybe there's, like, a wit, but it's not. And I'm like, what is the significant, like, why? I just
Hmm.
want to know why only some of them have bird names.
It's a
And I
great
don't that we don't
question.
there's no answer to this. I just want to know why Nightingale and Partridge, but then we didn't get, like, why didn't they also have a bird name? It's fine.
We definitely should have, because, like, and they also made the pun about it's a lark, it's a swan.
I just want to
Um,
know.
what, like, cause like Leo, Leopold, like, Nothing there.
No.
Maybe his middle name is like.
I don't think so.
I don't. Yeah, that is a missed opportunity.
Anyway, Daria Vernon, if you're listening, this is not a critique. I just want to know why he doesn't have a bird name. I still 5 stars, no notes.
Yes.
Love this book. However, I have a question. Can I ask
One
you
could
a
call it a
question?
note.
It's not really like it didn't bother me. I just was really like, is this secretly a bird name? Like,
yep. There was a YA book that I read, and I completely missed where the main guy was going to college, and I was like, did they not go to the same school? Like, what is happening? So I literally had to DM the author, and I was like, hey, what, like, I need to know, because like I bet you said it. I just like missed it both times I read this book, and then she answered. I was like, this is all I needed. Thank you so much. And so there's no problem having queries. It'll make your life better.
A little aggressive. I don't think I'm planning on sliding into her DMs
No,
with this.
no.
But if she happens to hear and wants to answer my question, that would be all right.
Because a Nightingale, Partridge, you're right.
I mean, maybe it was just a play on daring.
Well, it's the same thing as in Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochran. The dog, I mentioned this in our Christmas episode, but the dog's name is Paul Hollywood, but it's not Pawl, like paw. And then someone also in my comments was like, but also Howlywood, like howl. So there were some missed opportunities there too, and I will not ask Allison, but like I kind of want to scream from the rooftops. Like,
well, I
such a
can't
missed
fault
opportunity.
Daria Vernon when she nailed the leader reference, and that was really all I was concerned about in this one. The leader reference and just the sheer number of foul jokes.
But also, I thought the most romantic part about this book was finding the cluster of eggs, the swan eggs. I was like, oh.
No, the most romantic part of the book was when he ran over to her engagement party and was like trying to tell her that Gerald had mated just because he knew she would want to see Gerald with his mate. And Mr. Gramble or whatever was like, I don't get what's going on. What is going on? And he was like, I just want to tell April about her bird. And then there was the line about where Gramble was like, careful, you'll fall into the gap. Like, the gap is so big, you'll fall in. And he was like, yes, I know. I have, or whatever he says. Like, aggressively.
I hope that we get Anna's book, because obviously there's no redeeming Agatha. I shan't do that. But I'm like, if we were to get Anna's book, I hope that Daphne also finds her one true love, her one true swan. She's the other swan on their land. But I also loved how she like threw Gerald over the fence because she wanted him to come back. Like, she wanted an excuse for Leo to come back and like bring him back, and then it like led to that, and she's like, oh my god, I forced him into a situation where he mated with not the right swan. And that I just thought was so cute. And then the epilogue, because the mother had been trying to woo Leo's father like in the 10 years ago and like in the past, but Leo's father was still mourning his wife and was like tending to her roses, and like, so then the mother was just kind of like ticked off at him for 10 years, like holding a grudge. And she was kind of like a little bit like Mrs. Bennet-esque in the beginning, not like very overbearing, but like I didn't really see her growth. That was like, I didn't expect that to happen either. But she like took him over some food and was like, I'm gonna apologize for hating you for no reason for the last 10 years. And then they had a very cute interaction, and I was very happy with that. And yeah, I have not much else to add.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. It was like fairly low. I mean, there was like the drama with the marriage and everything, but like relatively low angst.
And it's a novella,
fast-paced.
So like a few pages were given to that, like the
it
party where she was
out
like technically
fairly
betrothed to the
quickly.
guy. Yeah.
It was just
And
like joy. That's all.
pure joy.
Just happiness. It was just such a sheer delight.
It was. I'm so happy that we found this, and we were trying to think of like books that weren't HarperCollins that we both had read, and we were like, let's do this one. And I had to read it the day before because we knew I'd forget. Whereas
okay.
Caroline remembers all of this, and it was like the first book she read in January. So
it was right around January, like 1st or something.
We are not the same.
Oh, you also read like 20 Lorraine Heaths so far, so
they did jumble my brain.
Just like you read more books than I do, and more quickly. So I feel like I can retain more details.
But even then, like I'll be writing the review. Like there was a review I was reading because someone had like commented on it, and so like I frequently go back and reread reviews because I make so many like spelling errors in either my highs and lows that, you know, that's always good to just read them again. And the one I was like, I never referenced the characters' names, and I was like, that's because I didn't remember them after finishing the book 5 minutes before. And that happens so many times. If you read a review of mine and you're like, she doesn't mention these characters' names, it's because I don't remember.
You just don't know the name.
I don't remember. And then like I'll probably be writing the review right in Goodreads, so like I don't really want to like exit out and like save it and then like go and see their names. There's one review I did of a Charis Michaels book where in the review I'm like, his name, I don't know it, but it could be this. Like I'm 99% certain it's this, and like I give like a whole explanation about why it's like this name, and then it's so different. Like I went back and found it. I was like, that is staying in there because it was exactly how my brain was working. I was like, it's got to be this name. Like it feels right. It was so wrong. I did not. That man did not imprint on me. Did not remember. But yeah, that's all she wrote.
That is all she wrote.
This book is available on Kindle Unlimited. It's Get Thee Off My Lawn, a Regency RomCom with a Swan Problem by Daria Vernon.
What a or tag, subtitle, whatever you want.
Yes.
What is that?
Yes.
Tagline? That?
Tagline.
Iconic. She has some other books. I like to read more of her work.
Me too. I signed up to be on her ARC team, which you can do on her website. And I will be looking back at her backlist because I have Kindle Unlimited and I don't really want to get rid of it because it is useful for like, you know, holiday specific things and, you know, random. Like I read the entire Kirk and Burn series, like I said, on Kindle Unlimited, and so I'm always looking for authors to try out. And so yeah, there's
sometimes some random stuff on there that you don't realize is gonna
exactly be, yeah, and like
it'll just pop up and I'm like, oh, it's an Amelie Howard or some other random like just stuff on there that you don't realize.
Yeah, more authors are starting to like put their things on there. I know like Eva Lay, I think, had some things just be added. I can't quite remember, or maybe no, I don't know. But it's always good to check out. And yeah,
we are not sponsored by.
No, we're not.
Kindle Unlimited.
We're not sponsored by anything.
We're not sponsored at all.
We're sponsored by horny baths and sexy neighbors. That's what we're sponsored by. Our next novella that we're excited for is the Matilda Halifax one. I'm excited for that to come out.
I am.
That comes out soon, like January 23rd, I think.
Yeah, so we will.
So, ready for that. I heard it's twice as long and twice as steamy as book one, so.
And I loved book one.
Exactly.
So,
I am ready. Ready to rumble.
Yes, indeed. In other random historical romance news, by the time this comes out, unless I need you to cut this out, by the time this episode goes live, I should have already announced I will have a Fable book club.
Yeah, I saw you
vote.
Put that on your story.
I have it set up, I just haven't like announced it.
I voted for the Harper St. George because I need you to read that series.
I will read it. I will read it. It's gonna happen. I mean, so far that one's winning.
Yeah,
so.
I was this close to voting with our podcast account too. I was like, what if I abuse the power and vote?
Oh my god. Well, really abusing that whole extra vote you would have. I mean, it's winning by quite a bit.
it's in benefit of the podcast because then we could do a whole series, like a
Relax.
episode on the series.
Okay, just chill
I'm
out.
just
Okay, but
I'm
hear me out.
s
The other I made sure none of them were HarperCollins,
Look
because
at
I
you.
wanted people to be able to review the
Mhm.
books. But the Storm Swept, which is Deborah Martin, but it's also Sabrina Jeffrey's writing as Deborah Martin. Um,
Oh, really?
yes, I know because I
I
looked it
love
up
Sabri
when I was looking for the
Oh
cover.
my.
Well, because I had the old cover of Storm Swept, and I was
That
like, "T, what
is
is
that
this
the
book
crazy
about?"
one?
I don't know if it's maybe. I don't know what you mean by the crazy one. All I know is when I looked up the summer, it's one that I bought based on the cover and didn't look it up, but it's
Mm.
one where like they get married and then he disappears for like 6 years.
Oh, lovely.
Um that's all I remember. It's like her first wedding night and then her second wedding night was 6 years late. Like, hold on. I'm trying to
I
look.
thought you were talking about the Forever one that you had read, like, the with the fun cover. Not
Oh, the
Storm Swept.
Windflower?
Yes, that one. I thought that's what you
Oh,
were
no,
talking
no,
about.
no. The Windflower is when you read that, we'll do a whole episode on it because that another level. No, no, no. Storm Swept is the first wedding night that Lady Juliana St. Albans spent with the dark and daring Rhys Vaughn was intoxicating. The
Reese.
heady culmination of her new husband's driving hunger and her own awakened sensuality. When he mysteriously disappeared the next morning, she waited for him in hope and desperation, and when he was finally proclaimed dead in a shipwreck, she bitterly mourned the loss of her love. The second wedding night that Juliana spent with Rhys Vaughn was 6 years later, after he returned to claim her just as she was about to wed another. This Rhys was different, bolder, harder, and convinced she'd betrayed him. Only their blazing passion remains from their years apart. But is it enough to light their way through the maze of mystery, menace, and mistrust to the love they once shared and would have to find again? Come on!
That Sabrina Jeffries, she's going up there. I really am willing to read anything by her because I like her writing a lot. So, it seems exciting. And it's
Oh my god,
Welsh.
and he's Welsh.
Look at us. Because you have
Well,
another
I
Welsh one.
figured because his name is Reese.
You have another Welsh
Um,
one on your list, which is the Kate Bateman.
yes.
Um,
It's this one I remember I had already bought a copy of it, so I wanted to read it, but I didn't know what it was about. And then on Twitter, I had asked for more Welsh heroes, and somebody recommended this one.
Gotcha.
So
The
boy, am I excited to read that.
That sounds lovely. The Reckless Match by Kate Bateman was it's my least favorite in that series, but it's still very good. For some reason, I just have like a hard time like remembering that book. Like I've
Mm.
listened to it, I listened to it the first time, it didn't really stick with me. And then I tried to listen to it, and then like I got distracted, so I listened to like half of it. And that happened again. And then like cuz I have like all the formats of this book, like the Audible book because I bought the Kindle book, and then I have the physical copy. I have all of them. And so it was better I suppose like fourth time around when I finally like read it again cuz like I knew now the characters and like I knew what was happening. Um and so like I am always willing to reread that book because I feel like I've missed things. Like I think I should read the physical copy.
Mm.
Because that's what like I read the physical copy of A Wicked Game and A Daring Pursuit. And both of those like imprinted on my soul. So I feel like the audiobook for the first time is maybe just not
Mm.
my best friend.
Well, there you go.
Um
I mean, we'll see. Presumably by Friday, by the time this is launched, we will know. It'll probably be the Harper St. George based on it's got like 40% of the votes right now, which I mean, this is my book club. I can do whatever I want. So for all we know, I might pull up and pick a completely unrelated title and say this is what we're reading, but the Harper St. George is winning the vote by a bunch. So we can like it'll be Rip Your Own Bodice on Fable.
nice.
Anyway, those are all my thoughts.
Those are the thoughts we have, and the final thought is that you should read Get Thee Off My Lawn.
That is the final thought. It's the final thought.
Down. That sounds like the final thought down. Yeah. That's what we've got. Thank you for sticking with us on our first episode, or our first like official episode of 2023, because
Woo!
TBR Tuesdays are little bonuses.
Woo!
We've got a cool lineup for like February or like through February, I think was it that we got figured out. We've got some fun ideas for Valentine's
there are
Day.
some
Yeah,
things that might get moved around.
yeah.
Well, we
We
have some
hope
plans.
we hope for like maybe an author interview if that
Yes, we
works
shall see.
out.
And we also are planning on doing kind of a read along every other or every few episodes of the Hathaways.
Yes, by Lisa Kleypas.
So the first one will be Mine Till Midnight, and that one's coming up
Soonish.
in a couple weeks.
I think like the first week maybe of February or something. Or is it next week? I have my notebook.
And I feel like this is the thing that I should know. Where are you?
Mine Till Midnight is the 121. No, that's when we're recording. So the 27th of January is Mine Till Midnight.
So it'll be the next episode.
Yes.
If you're listening to this on Friday.
You haven't read that one either, have you?
No, I have not.
Cool. So yeah, we're reading that. And yeah, our horror thought, that sounds like I said our horror thought. Our whole thought behind that is to just like read that series and like devote an episode each to each book, because you know us, we can't be concise, we can't
could not
talk.
cover that whole series in one episode. and we've both read The Wallflowers and The Ravenels.
Yep.
So would love to read. And the Hathaways are not published by HarperCollins.
That was another driving factor.
Review them.
That was honestly a lot of our motivation.
And also, I just want to read the Hathaway.
Yes.
I'm intrigued.
Yes.
I'm intrigued.
I've heard some good things about some of those books, so I'm excited. And I have some other Lisa that I'm trying to like hit, but a lot of those have to be like physical reads as well, because Rosalind Landor narrates, and we know that I can't tolerate that. So that'll probably be my first physical book of the year.
Wow.
So I know, like I've read like ebooks and stuff, but time,
indeed,
tricky bitch. Okay, so that's our kind of like general situation, but we'll be back to doing every Friday episode and then every other TBR Tuesday. So we took the month break because life was a lot.
It was the holidays.
We needed a break. It was, and I slept a sure bunch, so I liked it.
Yeah, but
I'm happy to be recording again.
Yes,
and we didn't forget how to do it, so that's great for us.
Well, we never really knew how to do it in the first place.
That is so true.
This is nothing if not chaotic.
Nothing if not chaos. That's our
brand.
And
once again, New Year, same us. So,
and yeah, you can change your hair. You can change your clothes.
All right.
But you'll always find your way back to the chaos. And that's all from us. Bye-bye.